Hello, here I am, in Granny's house, on Outset Island, in The Legend of Zelda Wind Waker. And I have a question. How the ever-loving fuck am I supposed to get to my bed? That is a shelf with a pillow on it. I know what this is. This is Granny trying to up the price of her Airbnb. That's what that is. Sleeps 3. Aye, one of these is a fucking plant pot. I'm on to you, Granny. I have questions. Many questions. And they're all in that bucket. The many most commonly asked questions of budding tourists. Flawless segue. As well as some wildcard questions of my own. And what I thought I'd do was I would use the 4 major islands of Hyrule's Great Sea and try and answer those questions. Question 1. Upside down. How do I get around? By boat, obviously. This boat, to be precise. Well, Simon, that boat's a shop. Well, in a world where Granny can have her own Airbnb, this boat can be a ferry. Besides, your boy needs a career change. Right, I've worked retail, I know that face. Business is down. And he's not sure how much longer he can keep going. I mean, to be fair, maybe business would be a bit better if he didn't make people wade through the actual ocean to buy a fucking pair. But, nevertheless, he knows the routes, he knows the locals, he's got like a big speakerphone thing, big megaphone, he could do guided tours. Hey, there's money to be had, and any overstock he has of like shite pairs, he can flog off to, you know, the people using the ferry, to you. Because you would be using his boat to get around. Question number 2, upside down again, where should I stay? Granny's Airbnb, mate, we've already covered this. It's wheelchair accessible. Mostly, it's assisted wheelchair accessible. The ramp's pretty steep. We've already discussed the beds. Let's discuss the chest of drawers. This is what happens when you don't measure things before you order them. Look at the state of it. My God. And you know you're not going to return it, are you? Because you've already built it. What are you supposed to do? Break it all back down, put it all in its nice packaging, try to slot all the styrofoam in where it goes, and you can never figure out how they got it in there in the first place. Or you just learn how to fold your clothes into fucking triangles. There's wooden kitchen utensils, no microplastics at Granny's Airbnb. Nice kettle, couple of mugs, pot of stew, firewood to keep the fire going. Granny's special tonic. I wouldn't be drinking Granny's special tonic, I tell you that much. And the plants are alive. I should probably have led with that. There's no other way to say this, the plants are alive. And you went, oh Simon, the plants aren't alive, it's meant to be a blowing animation. I'm like, well, the windies are closed. And in a world where the Deku tree exists. Okay. I mean, generally speaking, in a world where the Deku tree exists and where Koroks exist, I'm not sure what the implications are of keeping potted plants in general. And I'm not going to touch on that. What I will say is that you can tell who Granny's favourite grandkid is. Look, I'm not saying she doesn't love her grandchildren, right? All I'm saying is the wee lassie gets her picture up above the fireplace and the wee guy has to photobomb his own gran to get some attention. You know? Also, outside there's a hot tub. Or it's drinking water. I would advise you find out which is which. Because you don't want to be caught drinking Granny's bathwater, do you? Can I bring my dog to Outset Island? Absolutely. Lots of trees and grass, some beaches, lots of room to run around, throw the old tennis ball. You might want to keep them on a leash if you think they're going to be prone to chasing the seagulls into the ocean, or chasing the crabs into the ocean, or chasing the children into the ocean. But other than that, spot on to Windfall Island, absolutely. Granted, there's a lot of verticality in Windfall Island, maybe keep them on the leash, but other than that, go grab yourself a coffee, get your dog, sit on the bench, look out at the wonderful view. Oh, can he beat it? What about Dragon Roost Island? Again, I don't really see a reason not to take them to Dragon Roost Island. Actually, no, I take that back. The plants explode. Don't be taking your dog to Dragon Roost Island. You don't want the wee man blasting his bollocks off every time he tries to go for a pish. So no dogs on Dragon Roost Island. Speaking of taking a pish, maybe don't take your dog to Forest Haven. Because, you know, I just feel like taking a dog to a living forest is a bit of a recipe for an international incident. Your dog did what to my boy? Also, be mindful of cleaning up after your dog, because those post boxes might look like jobby bins, but it turns out the post boxes are in fact post boxes and not jobby bins. Had to learn that the hard way. Well, you know what? If they didn't want me putting my dog shite in their post boxes, they shouldn't have painted their post boxes like the bins I'm allowed to put my dog shite in. What local dishes should I try? So here's the thing. Right, if I was a much smarter person and I was one of those like investigative audit sort of guys, I'd do a whole bit of video on this. Probably somebody's already done a whole video on this, but anyway, there's a lot of evidence of food in Wind Waker. Not really any food though. I can't really find any food. There's herbs and garlic hanging around places, but herbs and garlic is what you put on food. It's not exactly food. Also, just side note, shout out to sort of 2D vegetables in 3D games. Love it. There's canoes, which I would assume were used to go fishing, but I couldn't really find any evidence of fishing. There's cooking utensils, but no evidence of cooking. Well, I mean, the big woman with the pig pen does have what I can only describe as piglet-sized carving knives. So, you know, bacon rolls on outside island. There's ramen bowls, but no ramen. The coffee shop has cooking utensils and cutlery, but again, absolutely no evidence of them being used in any way. The only food I found 2 pots of food. I found Granny's delicious stew, and then in this other house, I found what I can only describe as wood soup. I hope you've left room for your wood soup, son. The skelfs just give it texture. Ooh, there is, and I guess this kind of counts, there isn't what I would call an artisanal jam shop, right? The sort of thing you find in wee Scottish towns. They call it jelly, and it's done up like an apothecary, but mate, it's a fucking jam shop, right? They sell jam. Although, right, they sell jam, but that is all they sell. You have to bring your own bottle, which is nonsense. I understand it's maybe environmentally friendly, I suppose, but what kind of bloody psychopath brings masonry jars on holiday with them? The bird people, I suppose, can eat, I don't know, worms and fish out of the sea. The Koroks can eat sunlight. But I've got no idea what the humans are supposed to eat, unless there's a food island. I haven't finished the game yet, right? I'm taking my time with it. I'm having a lot of fun. So maybe there's some sort of food island that serves ramen. Maybe the bird people deliver the ramen, like some sort of Uber Eats sort of thing. Hey, what cultural etiquette should I know? Honestly, there's not actually much to worry about in terms of like cultural mines that you could step on. There is the Rito tribe from Dragon Roost Island, home of the Sky Spirit Valoo. But the white man came and introduced them to drop shipping, so now their ancient temple is basically an Amazon warehouse. So there's not really much in the way of culture there anymore, I'm afraid. They do have stick-on noses though. It's kind of weird looking, to be honest. I wouldn't ask them about that. Probably quite culturally insensitive. Are there mosquitoes or other health concerns? I mean, there's probably mosquitoes in Forest Haven, to be honest. I wouldn't advise going to Forest Haven. Maybe we'll get to it, maybe we won't. There's probably mosquitoes there. Other than that, not really. There are seagulls. There's an awful lot of seagulls. And as we all know, seagulls kind of share the same morals as mosquitoes, in that they're arseholes who, you know, instead of wanting to steal your blood, want to steal your fish and chips. Maybe that's where the food went. Either the seagulls have hoarded it all like some sort of sky rat dragon, or all the people of Hyrule have had to bury it deep underground to keep it away from the seagulls. Why is it that staring at birds through a telescope is a hobby, but staring at women through a telescope is a criminal offence? Poisonous crabs. There's poisonous crabs. You know, tell me they're no poisonous. They're absolutely poisonous. High-vis animals are poisonous. That's how it works. Animals that you can eat just don't look like that. I would say there is a slight risk of being nipped by a radioactive crab. Speaking of speaking of radioactive, I have to say, this wee lassie's has a biohazard symbol on her dress. I don't know what that means, but I feel like you should be aware of it. Is there a gift shop? There is, actually. There is a gift shop, kind of. There's kind of a gift shop. There's like some sort of geek bunker, a gamer bunker, that sells like unlicensed model kits and anime figures and Pikachu masks. No idea how you're actually expected to get there, but I think we can all agree locked deep in an underground bunker on a tiny island in the middle of the ocean, inaccessible to the general public, is where gamers belong. So, we've been losing members due to our lack of gimmicky attractions, but we don't worry. True fans know we're the coolest. Take that, PlayStation. Did you send me a postcard? Like this video, and I'll send you a postcard of a pig's arse. Where can I get a drink? There is, in actual fact, a coffee shop. I do have thoughts and feelings about the coffee shop. Number one, obviously, love a good coffee shop. Can you beat a good coffee shop? I do have a couple of concerns. The barista is trapped in there, which is either a symbolic representation of how the service industry treats its hard-working and underpaid staff, or, you know, she just hops the counter every night. Not a whole lot of seating options either. You know, I don't want to stand around with my coffee, and I don't want a coffee to go. Sometimes it's nice to just sit in. You know, maybe bring a book. You're on holiday, you've maybe got your dog with you. You know, a wee bit of bowl of water for the dog, nice wee coffee. Well, you probably should go outside with your dog. Never, you know, but sometimes I want to sit down, and there's only 2 chairs. And, you know what, I'm not even mad about the chairs, right? Who cares about the chairs? I'm mad about this. I'm mad about that. I don't know, at the bar, at the back. What's that all about? That's like 8 feet in there. I'm a wee guy. I'm like 5'7". See that? That's heightest. I've got... use am I supposed to get out of that? Shocking. Shocking. But I don't know why it's so tall. There's a lot of short people. You know, in Hyrule. Hyrule's not known as a tall person place. Right, it's... I'm not short, right? That bar's just too high. I tell you, nonsense so it is. Are there any unremarkable and odd places? Yes, there are. Look, if I was one of these people that had the cognitive ability to better explain himself and express how things made him feel and perhaps why the things made him feel that way, I would do like a 15-minute video on this bridge. I love this wee bridge, right? It's utterly pointless unless I'm missing something. Please tell me if I'm missing something. It has 2 entrances, right? It has 2 entryways up the bridge, if you call them entryways, I don't know. 2 stairs up to the top of the bridge. And it does connect. I was going to say it doesn't connect to anything. It does. It's adjoined to these other buildings, but there's no doorways or anything. And the stairways up to the bridge, they aren't even on opposite ends. They're on the same side. It's fucking pointless. Unless there is some sort of structural reason that it exists. It's utterly pointless and I love it. I love this wee thing. Runner-up goes to the little dock. There's a secret wee dock that I found. I say secret, right? It's just kind of out of the way. And it doesn't seem to serve much purpose. There's a wee woman at it reminiscing about adventure or whatever. I assume it's like a dock for deliveries. You are going to have to take all your deliveries up the steps, which sucks, by the way, having done that for a significant portion of my life. And there's not a whole lot of room to fit your pallets on. But other than that, I assume that's what it's for. I like this wee dock. Nothing funny to say about the odd places, I just think they're fun, you know. What scams should I watch out for? I tell you what, right? I was shocked at the amount of scams there are in this game. In Hyrule, shocking so it is. There's like a low stakes scam, right? The guy who constantly asks you to cut his grass for free. With the promise of you can find what you keep, oh I please canna. And then there's the sailor, you go to Windfall Island, there's massive sailor. And he's all like, just so you know, if you ever have money issues, I give good financial advice. You come back to me anytime, chum. I've got plenty of cash. If a giant guy you've never met approaches you on holiday, even if you're not on holiday, but particularly if you're on holiday, and offers you financial backing, you don't go to him. You go to the police. There's also the bomb guy. Look, I'm not saying it should be easy to buy bombs, right? I'm not encouraging like seasonal sales of explosives. I'm just saying, he's a fucking rip-off merchant. 40 grand for a bomb? My dog was away in Dragon Roost Island pissing all over those things. You want to charge me 40 grand for a bomb? I suppose you could argue that the safe harvesting of naturally occurring explosives is probably quite a dangerous and expensive process. Those prices are still shocking though. What are the must-see attractions? Alright, there's a few. There's obviously the windmill on Windfall Island. You go to a place called Windfall Island, you go to see the windmill. And better than just the windmill, it is also a big wheel. It is a windmill and big wheel combo. Imagine going to a windmill and then being like, oh fuck, I can ride that. Tying the mechanics of the big wheel to the mechanics of the windmill. The flaw in that is that the wind isn't always there, is it? So a lot of the time it just doesn't do anything. And what would happen if the wind buggered off when you were halfway up there, or all the way up at the very top? You'd be stuck. Aye mate, I appreciate the extended seat time, but I don't exactly want to have to wait to the change of the fucking season to get my ass back down there, now do I? Inside the windmill proper. I think it's inside the same building or it's in the building attached to the windmill. Either way, there's a cannon fire mini guy, and I feel for this guy, right? I've been there, I know how it feels. You can tell he's got a degree, you know he's got a degree, he's painted the whole thing himself. Whenever, you know, you play the game, he grits his teeth, he puts on his best happy face and he gives it loudly. But he's miserable. This isn't what he wants to do with his life. I mean, the wind's buggered off, so he's getting 8 customers, and he's another one needing a change of career. When he got that drama degree, he didn't envision his day job being telling me how shite I am at battleships. Listen mate, all you need is a global pandemic and then a redundancy care package to keep you going, and you start a YouTube channel and trust me mate, it all works out. You'll be fine. Oh, hang in there buddy. If you were so inclined to go to Forest Haven, there are the Forest Haven musicians. They have a big ceremony, they have a bit of a ceilidh and all that, you know. I hate a ceilidh. But back on Windfall Island, you can meet Akeem the African Dream, famed cultural appropriation icon and professional wrestler. Akeem the African Dream has opened up his own camera shop. Listen, if any of you get that reference, that's amazing, right? Bit of the old Akeem. Brother. Imagine talking photography with Akeem the African Dream, that would be amazing. Is it suitable for children? I think if you would have asked me that before I started recording this video, I would have said yes. But thinking on it, it's more of a holiday I think parents think their child will enjoy because they'll enjoy it, but it's not really a particularly good holiday for a child, is it? Windfall Island has got some stuff, right? The cannon fire thing, windmill big wheel if the weather's good for you, Akeem the African Dream, obviously kids love pro wrestling. But other than that, there's not a whole lot going on. You could say Outset Island, right? And you go, oh, there's kids at Outset Island, my kids could go out, they could play with their kids. And you're like, aye, okay. And one of the kids it seems like a nice little enough lad, you know, he's just a wee guy running around with a big stick. That is classic wee guy energy. But the other child is a wretched little thing that runs around with a bogey hanging out his nose. He's going to get your kid sick. You want to keep your kid far away from him. Windfall Island also has children, but it has 2 wee gossiping lassies and what I can only describe as a gang of youths. They're a bad influence. They'll be a bad influence on your child. There's also a known paedophile locked up in the jail, in the town jail. Has to be said. Which I suppose, right, if you were concerned about that sort of thing, that's where you would want them to be. So I suppose, is that a plus? I'm not sure if that's a plus or not. Look, he dresses like a fiddler, he asks you to free him in exchange for a Game Boy Advance, and he invites you to his island. He's a pedo. All I'm saying is the kids of Outset Island run around carefree, while the children of Windfall Island feel that they have to group together for safety. That said, Outset Island does have that guy crawling around on all fours like a dog. Look, I don't care why he's doing it. That's just not the face of a man that gets to crawl about on his hands and knees around children without raising at least a little suspicion. Anyway, if you're worried about their safety, I suppose you could just leave them in the house with a tingle tuner, couldn't you? When it said suitable for children, I don't think that's what it meant. Well, speaking of tingle tuner, final question, should I bring my tingle tuner? I don't see why not. Some people might say that spending your holiday gaming outside in the sun is a bit of a waste of a holiday. But those people probably spend their holidays out there sunbathing, playing chicken with skin cancer. So, you know, also I actually think sunbathing and gaming, particularly handheld gaming, have a bit in common. They kind of have the same purpose, don't they? It's just, you're just there to completely flush out all the anxiety, all the worries, all the sort of the bottlenecked stress, and just kind of, you know, reset to zero. Get yourself back to a place where you can take on the rest of the year until you burn out and have to go on another holiday with your Switch. I've never actually been much of a handheld gamer, I have to say, but I do hold this romanticised idea of handheld gaming. Out there on the beach, you know, in the shade under a tree, waist deep in the ocean, in the coffee shop, no headphones in so everybody knows what I'm playing. It's probably best to play it indoors, actually, because you just know that thing gets terrible screen glare. Besides, if we're being honest with each other, you shouldn't really be tuning your tingle in public either, should you? No. Even if you are on holiday.